So, how difficult is it to be someone who has a great sense of humor and be in finance? Is it? What's that like?
Unusual.
Only Martin can answer that question.
All right, here we are, folks. We're here with Martin and we're here with Joel. So let's start with this. Joel, what should people know about you?
Well, in short, CFO for AvidXchange, been with the company for 2 years, spent the last 20 years building finance function in fast-growing technology companies like AvidXchange.
Cool. What should folks know about you, Martin?
I like to sing the EBITDA song.
Yeah.
Martin Smith, I'm coming up on 2 years with AvidXchange. I work for Joel. He brought me on to build an FP&A function, which we have achieved, and looking forward to the future.
What's that? So he brought you on. What could you just not live without him?
I pure and simply couldn't live without him.
Yeah,
so,
what's that background?
Well, I was hired to be the CFO and a fast-growing business, an entrepreneurial-led, founder-led business. I interviewed with Mike Prager, our founder and CEO, and he asked me, what would I do? And I talked to him about FP&A, and after I then explained what it stood for,
that's helpful.
I explained that what that means
I
is
might need that myself.
financial planning and analysis. I explained that we would add a small kind of a sort of SEAL Team 6 team led by someone like Martin. At the time, I didn't know who that would be. It only took me a few months after I started at Avid to find Martin in the Charlotte market. With great experience, spent a year before Avid as CFO for the U.S. operation of PayPal. Great experience in the big banks before that, and just someone who has a long career in building financial leadership, specifically financial planning experience and developing staff. So that's just an important thing for a business like ours. We're growing fast and we're making a lot of investments in building the business, and that can create volatility, and it's really important for our stakeholders to get a sense of where are we going and how are we doing. And before I joined, it was early days. We didn't have a good sense of that, but we have done since we brought Martin on.
Okay, so what was his pitch to you?
Well, ironically, I come from a large bank environment in addition to PayPal, which is, I think, different than what Joel really wanted. And after working together, we realized that really complements each other, because his background is all startup, fast growth. Mine's traditional banking and payments. So his pitch to me was, it was almost a challenge. Can you come out of this big stoic environment and run as quickly as we need to and be nimble and make this thing happen? And so he sucked me right in.
Sucked you right. It was the challenge part.
It was the challenge.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we're at REVx right now. What do you think so far? You've done a couple of these, right?
Yeah, I love it.
You've done a couple of these too, or?
This is my first
okay.
user conference. Again, I'm just coming up on my second year.
Okay.
And I'm thoroughly excited. I was really impressed just walking into the place and seeing how we used all the marketing materials.
That's they've done a bang up job marketing. All right, so let's talk about forecasting and risk. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
First, let me quickly talk about that. We're going to have a session on forecasting.
Okay.
And it's really going to be oriented around the 10 biggest mistakes that people make in forecasting. But I would say the important message we want people to get from that session is the fact that the forecasting accuracy breeds trust. Right, and trust then allows for improved decision making.
Now, trust for who? Yeah,
great question. So it's I was thinking of trust from management.
Yeah,
but it goes broader than that. What we've experienced here at Avid is we have developed trusting relationships with our board of directors. They are really thrilled that we can call a point and deliver it.
What's your reaction to trust?
Yeah, I would just amplify what Martin said. We've in a very short time, Martin and the team that he's built and the sort of embedded financial analysts that sit inside the business have created a much narrower tolerance between what we anticipate or predict we will do from a performance standpoint, whether that's a quarter or a year or even multiple years out, compared to sort of historically. And so the board, has a greater degree of comfort when we're talking about what we expect for the future. I would also say, as Martin mentioned, that my background is something like 15 years in public companies, 3 different public companies, where you're actually not just managing the expectations of the board, you're managing the expectations of the marketplace, Wall Street, and you're held accountable for the degree to which you're able to hit your numbers. And so it's really, we talk about risk, it's really developing a point of view about the future that's informed by data and a solid process that's embedded in the business. And like Martin says, a track record of meeting or exceeding, and if missing only slightly your expectations, then you will be, you've increased your credibility and trust in the team.
And I think the key is, it's not about developing the super model. Right. It's not about the most sophisticated set of scenarios that you can run, like a Monte Carlo simulation. Right. It's about understanding your business and having both a top of the house view, but also people embedded in the business where the decisions are being made. That's the secret.
Okay, I'm going to ask you both the same question. Accounts payable or accounting, is it an art or is it a science?
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of tell you that I think it's a little bit of both.
Sure.
And I think
very safe answer.
Yeah, it's a safe answer. There's an element of it that is about rapid, accurate, and efficient processing of data and transactions. You might call that the science.
Right. Good.
And then there's an element of leveraging that the resulting data and the resulting process for insights. And understanding relationship with vendors, your spend, seasonality in the business. I think there's a lot of art and science that goes together with AP.
Okay, good, hand in hand. Art or science?
I would agree. I think it's fundamentally a science, but best in class leverages the art of understanding the implications.
All right, how about this? So, how difficult is it to be someone who has a great sense of humor and be in finance? Is it? What's that like?
Unusual.
Only Martin can answer that question.
That's your question. So what's your sessional?
So it's really about improving accuracy as a business and investing in FP&A function that's scalable. Layman's terms, what we're really talking about is why build the expertise that provides analysis, forward-looking forecasting, and quality decision-making capabilities. Why do that? How do you do it? And what's the benefit?
And what do you hope that people will get out of it? Maybe 1 or 2 things.
Ultimately,
what's your big left hook?
Ultimately, to me, it's an approach. To me, it's about the team getting to the point of expertise where they realize that their value, their success, is really mired in the business winning. If the business wins, they have been successful.
That's amazing. That's great. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Martin's going to do an amazing job. He is a subject matter expert, and he's kind of been there and done that in terms of building FP&A teams. He's done a great job at Avid doing that. I'm excited about the conference. I'm hosting a panel. So last year I participated on a panel. This year I'm hosting a panel of four customers. Many years of experience using AvidXchange, driving costs and paper and labor out of the AP process. So there's no better authority on that than our customers. And so I'll have a chance to talk to those customers about what life was like before AvidXchange, what catalyst existed to embark upon AP automation, and then what their organization looks like today and what benefits they see from it.
Do you think there's going to be any surprises?
Well, I don't know. I think the one thing that I recall, so we had a prep call for the session, and so I talked to these customers last week, and one of the customers pointed out that she's attended these conferences for years, and she highlighted that there's the value in listening to her peers, listening to colleagues about how they use the system, how they encountered challenges, optimizations that they did in the system paid significant dividends. And so she actually really encouraged me that there's a ton of value to be had. And we've got, upwards of 100, registered attendees. And I think that people will walk out with a real good sense of, if they're customers today, how to optimize and how to take advantage of the system that they have. And maybe if they're not customers yet, sort of the opportunity that they have to, again, remove cost and friction and paper from the process and add visibility and control. So
friction like what? Wait, friction, that's a good one.
Friction like, receiving a paper invoice and having to stamp it, as if it's the medieval days, right? And sort of, who has to approve this? Oh, I don't know. Let's carry it to that office. And whose signature is that? Is that actually validly approved? I'm not sure. All right, well, let's send it to AP anyway. Filing it in the file cabinet, right? Like, it's a medieval process that really is being transformed. And that's, frankly, that's the excitement that led me to the company and talking to our customers about the sort of no-brainer investment. And frankly, it's a meaningful ROI, but our customers talk about, yeah, I get ROI fast, but I now have control and visibility around a really important business process. That's exciting.
Control and visibility, that's amazing.
Yep.
So here we go. We have Joel, we have Martin, subject matter experts, a lot of experience. That's not an age thing. But if you want to know more about AvidXchange, visit us at avidexchange.com.